Alright, so before I go into what we're going to cover in this tutorial, I want you to know that I know how crazy this sounds. You're probably thinking, 30 minutes to create a website? Come on now. Well, let me tell you that it is definitely possible, but only because I'm talking about the world's simplest one-page website. A website so simple that my grandmother could maybe kind of almost do it with me doing most of the work. But the point is, it's definitely simple, it's quick, and it's free. And that was definitely music to my ears when I was first starting out as a freelancer, looking for different places that I could possibly showcase my portfolio to send the clients and impress the pants off them, but without having to pay somebody to create a really expensive website for me. So the tool that we're going to be using in this tutorial is called Strikingly, and just like the name suggests, the results are, well, striking. So for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how you can turn your LinkedIn profile or your resume into a one-page website on Strikingly to send to clients. But you can use these exact same strategies in order to create a one-page website for your business, or if you're just looking to create a website for fun. So here we are on strikingly.com, which is an awesome free resource for creating your one-page portfolio websites. And it can be great for those of you who can't use LinkedIn because you might still be working with your current employer that's listed on LinkedIn. You can't exactly let everybody in your life know that you're a freelancer yet. Or if you just want to have that extra place to send your potential clients where you might be able to go into more depth about the things that you're able to do for them and your rates and all of that good stuff. So you can use these beautiful templates that they have, which are mobile and tablet responsive, and there are business owners who use them already, so you know that they work really well and it only takes a few minutes to set up. So if you head to the bottom of Strikingly, there is a section where you can link your LinkedIn profile through their app. So you could select this and then it basically sets up a website for you based on the information that you put into LinkedIn. It can be a bit messy if, like me, you've had LinkedIn for a while, so you have a lot of other positions on there. You might have your education and your volunteer experience and just way too much stuff that doesn't actually need to be on your one-page profile as far as your freelancing career is concerned, but it can be a good place to give you a place to start. If you're not sure at all where to start, then definitely do that and it'll just pre-populate a lot of the information from your LinkedIn. But for this exercise, we're actually going to go ahead and start a one-page website from scratch, so I can show you just how easy it is. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. So I already have a Strikingly website, and we're basically going to just create the exact same site just from scratch, so I can show you exactly how to do that. So we're going to go and just hit create new site. And then you go ahead and you select a template from so many different beautiful templates, and you can also change this once you've already clicked into it and started designing your website. So this is not the same as it is with WordPress, where it takes a month and the cost of your arm and a leg and a kidney to change over your templates. This is super easy. It'll keep all the same information and just update your template design. So I'm going to go ahead and select this one because I already know that I love it. And it will just give me some information on this template with some pre-populated information about this company, and I can then adjust it to my needs. So instead of explaining each individual section of how things work on Strikingly, I'm just going to go ahead and start creating, and I will talk you through it as I'm doing it, because I find that it's the easiest way to actually explain everything that's happening here. So when you go through this template, you can see that it's beautiful, gorgeous colors and designs and photography, and it's already got a bit of a portfolio section here that we could possibly use for our own portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and change some of the images in the background over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the background, and you've got some free images and free videos as well. So you can have a moving free video in the background, which is awesome. So if I was going to click on this one, This is a great example because it's not too bright, it's not too distracting because it's a little bit blurry, and there are plenty of other ones for you to choose from. These are all free videos that you can use for your website, and if you find that that's right for what you're trying to do, then you can certainly do that, but I find it to be just a tiny bit distracting for a portfolio website specifically. So you can go ahead and create your website using the images or videos if you wish, but for me, images seem to be a much better way to go. If you click into their library, it's all pretty much Unsplash images anyway, so you might as well just go onto Unsplash and search for what you're looking for because you'll have more selection that way. Or alternatively, you can also upload your own images, which is exactly what I've done. So I'm going to go ahead and select my image, which is an image of me. So already starting to look a little bit more personal with my face and the photo that we took in Vietnam. Now, the other thing is that it's a little bit dark, and the reason for that is because of these settings over here. So I would probably go maybe with, let's go ahead and select that one. So dark text but light background. And I'm happy for it to be stretched, and yeah, that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save. Now you've got some layouts over here. So this is layout A, layout B, where you can also have an opt-in box for somebody, or layout C, or layout D. So you can go through them and figure out what works well for you. That's cool. I would probably not have that section here. I would remove that because I don't need a button there specifically. And I'm going to make this, hey there. Let's get to know each other. Now, you want to go ahead and you can just click onto here to change the font family. Keep in mind that this is a free website and it's really responsive and it's beautiful, but it's not going to give you a great deal of customizability when it comes to your fonts. So all you can really do is either go through this section over here or go up here to styles. Either way, it'll take you to this place where you can select your fonts. So you only have 3 categories: title fonts, heading fonts, and text fonts. And those are the only 3 things that you can actually select. You can't have more fonts than 3, but you really shouldn't have more than 3 fonts on a website anyway. And when you hover over it, it'll select the appropriate section on the website. So you can see that. That's the heading font and the title font and the text font. So I actually am going to change that, and we're going to go over to Railway, and my heading font can be Railway as well, maybe. Yep, that looks good. And I think I'll go with Open Sans for my text font just to change things up. Now, I don't love this color scheme over here, so I am going to go ahead and click custom. And I already know the colors that I want to use, and I know my hex codes, so 6 and 9C, that's our blue. Love that. You can upload your logo and it will grab your colors automatically as well, but happy with those 2, so you can see that it's already updated that. So it's got my orange there and my blue that the buttons grabbed. Now, if you need to change your template because you don't particularly like this one, you can go ahead and change these. So as soon as you click onto it, it will show you what that would look like if you were to change to this template. So it's slightly different kind of layout, different color schemes, and things are loading in a bit of an animated fashion, which they weren't before, and our header is quite different. Until you actually click switch to this template, it's not going to change anything. So I am actually happy to not switch to it, and I'm going to go back and keep the current template that I have, but just know that that is always there. You can also mess with any animations, which I don't really like to have too many animations on this, as it is just a 1-page profile to show off your portfolio. But if you want to go ahead and play around with some animations, then you can definitely do that over here with things like having your background fixed or parallax or whatever you decide to have. So I'm just going to keep it as that. And I'm going to go ahead and leave the rest of that as is and go back. The other thing I should mention with Strikingly is that in order to save any changes that you're doing, you need to hit publish. So there's no save button per se. You need to actually hit on the publish button in order for it to go live and also update the changes at the same time. So if you don't hit publish and you accidentally exit out of the site, then nothing will have actually changed since the very first template that we preloaded. So we're going to go ahead and click on publish so we don't lose any of the changes. And then we're going to set up our URL. So maggie.stara.strikingly.com is already taken. So I am going to try and make it, I mean, that's too long. You'd want to use your first name dot your last name, but just because it's already taken. Or you can go ahead and use your own domain, but in that case you need to upgrade, because with the free Strikingly account, you can only use the very first part of the URL can be custom, but you have to use .strikingly.com. So Maggie's site, I'm gonna make that Maggie Stara's portfolio. Or profile. Yeah, let's go profile. And it's gonna be business or portfolio. Yeah, let's make it a portfolio. Cool. So then we want to publish. Right. I can't have dots. They have to be dashes. I forgot. Alright, so let's try that again. Cool. Awesome. Now I want to go ahead and start changing a few things about these sections of the website and this logo up here. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a logo that I just created in Photoshop, which I think I have here. Yep. Just a transparent background, so it's just my first and last name, nothing too exciting. But alternatively, you could also just have your photo there and have your name here. So that also works. So we could just have that and then have my face there. It doesn't have to be any sort of logo per se. I just quite like having that transparent first and last name. I think it looks quite professional. Now when we scroll down, you can see that that's still there. So you need to make sure you're editing both of them and replacing both of them. So I want to go ahead and replace that as well. So now when we scroll up, it's there and it's there again. Cool. So that looks good to me. Now, this I don't actually need to have there because it's not a section that anyone would really need to actually navigate to. So what you want to do is click into it, and I'm going to erase the actual title of it. So that is just the beginning of the website, but it doesn't show up in the menu bar now. And I would actually probably want to make this bold so people can see it a little bit better. So now we want to have a powerful line that will kind of introduce what I'm about and what I do over here. But I'm actually going to erase this and also erase the heading and just have the text. So I'm going to get rid of that and just have the text here. So this is kind of how I start my freelancing profile and my LinkedIn as well, I think. So this is where you could go and make this a little bit larger. You can't actually customize specific parts of this, I forgot. So you can only customize this whole section. So if you make one thing larger, it's actually going to make the whole thing larger. So I'm happy with leaving it as that. And then let's go ahead and delete this actually. And the only way to delete it is actually delete it from the menu. So I'm going to delete this whole section. I like this as a portfolio. I think that's really cool. But I think this isn't necessarily super relevant. So I'm going to get rid of the FAQs. And I like this part over here. I think that's very cool. So we're going to change that at the end. But that's going to be kind of a contact us section or contact me section over there. So now after this line over here, I'm going to have a more in-depth look into who I am and what I'm about. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new section, and I'm just going to make it a text section, I think. let's go ahead and put in plain text. So I don't obviously want it to say plain text over here or in the menu. I'm going to make it an about me, who I am, and I'm going to go ahead and delete a part of this. And delete that. I'm going to add a title, I think. Bold. Yeah, I think that looks cool, and I am going to go ahead and change the background to an image. I think maybe I have it in my uploaded images. I do. Yeah, I'm going to select this one because that will allow the text to actually stand out. Obviously not where the cloud is, but you can go ahead and select this darker version over here, so that makes it a little bit nicer. I think that looks really cool, and I'm going to drag that up so it's going to be just after this section over here, which obviously doesn't need to have that title, so I'm going to erase that, and it's going to basically start with the menu at who I am. Cool, so I think that's looking really good so far. I like this as a portfolio, but I would actually demonstrate my portfolio in a bit of a different section. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new section, and I'm going to add it in as this section over here, which is content in rows. So I'm going to go ahead and make that services, and that's cool. Drag that up, and I'll say what I can do for you. Make that bold. So this is where I would then put in my projects in greater detail and maybe change the layout so it's not a super static grid like this. So this is how I would probably lay it out, where I've got a bit of a sample of what I've done in the past and what I can actually do for them as services. So I'm going to customize that because it might take a little while for me to do that live with you on camera, and I'll show you what that actually looks like once it's done. But the other thing that I would want to maybe put in is my package rates. So I would add a new section and I would put it in this sort of format. And this is just not quite enough rows for me. So I would probably put in, yeah, that looks good to me. And then that way you can add more items. You can add maybe 4 packages or 4 samples of what kind of packages you're looking at. So this would be my pricing packages, and then you could put in details about each one over here. So you could put specific prices on it if you wanted to. I have these funky images that I created once again in Photoshop, and I really like them because I think they're really quite captivating. So this was just a designer who just dipped a bunch of objects in white paint, and it also allows you in Photoshop to make them really colorful. So I love these because they are the exact same color scheme as what I have selected for my website, but you could put anything here. So the images are just kind of an emotional trigger for them, and then it's more about the services that you actually put below each package and even the prices that you put below each package. If you actually want to have prices live on your site, you certainly don't have to, but it can be a good idea to have a visual representation of that package. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in greater detail in just a sec. Again, I've already got these filled out in my personal site, so I just want to show you kind of how you can set things up. And this can be a really great way to have a portfolio on your site. But for this section, I'm actually going to delete it. And what I would do at the beginning, when you don't really have an elaborate portfolio yet, is you can add a section that has your social feed in it. Where are we? Just up here, your social feed. And now if you click down to the social feed, it will actually show off the images from our Instagram. So this can be a really, really good way of almost having a bit of a portfolio on your website when you don't really have one yet. So it's something visual to show the client, this is the kind of work that I'm doing. Even if it's just your own Instagram account, if you're really proud of it, and especially if you're using it as a way to show off your skills, then you can definitely connect it to your one-page website, and the client can go to it and see, wow, that's awesome. That looks really, really great and professional. And it can be a way for them to go and then check out your Instagram account and see the captions and see the hashtags and all of that good stuff. So that's just something that I really love, especially if you like playing around on Instagram and if Instagram is your preferred social platform. So that's definitely something to consider. And then you can also have your contact section over here. So I have already customized all of this on my own personal site. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump into maggie-dara.strikingly.com, because it's actually weirdly exactly the same as what we've just set up, but a little bit more detailed. So let's go over to here. So you can see that the top is exactly the same. I've set it up using the same theme, and I've got my one line over there, the who I am and the what I can do for you and my services. So here's where I've actually expanded on each section of the services that I would be able to perform for clients. So this will give you an idea of what kind of information you could actually provide without having a full in-depth portfolio. You'll notice that each of the examples that I've used in each category is just one that I've done for Living to Rome. None of these are things that I've done for my clients. It's again just to show that I'm really creative and that I have the abilities to do this kind of stuff for my clients. So you can certainly set this up before you even have any experience. This is just my own email account where I've sent myself an email from ActiveCampaign, and you could do the exact same thing through MailChimp. So you can get really creative with this section where you can go ahead and create just some beautiful images on Canva to show off your skills, put in detailed descriptions of what you're able to do for clients, and then at the end go into your packages in more detail. But this is just an example of how this could possibly look on your one-page website. So I wouldn't necessarily list prices for each of them, but if you really want to, then definitely, if that makes you more comfortable at the beginning, then this is a good starting point. So you could just have a little sort of social starter package where you're just offering social media services. Then you could have social media, email marketing, and blog management. And then you could offer custom packages and then freedom packages for people who just want to purchase you in chunks of time based on your hourly rate, but not necessarily based on services. So this can be a really easy thing for business owners at the beginning when they're not entirely sure what they want you to do yet, but they know they want to work with you. So in this case, you might say, yep, I'm available to do this, but you have to purchase me for a minimum of 40 hours per month based on $55 per hour. And then what I do during that time is up to you. In that case, it can be completely different week to week and month to month, but they have to purchase you for a minimum of 40, 80, 100 hours, whatever you're most comfortable with for them to build this sort of package. So I'm going to link you to this below so you can have a look at exactly what I've put into here. And then I've got my social feed again. And here's where I've also linked my LinkedIn, my Upwork profile, my Facebook account, and my email as well. But you could also connect your Twitter account or another portfolio where you might have samples of your work. And then at the end, I've got a contact me section. You want to make sure that the email here is one that you check frequently, so it's actually going somewhere, because when you add this section to your profile, that email address won't be pre-populated. So if you're adding this section to your website, you need to make sure that you go into edit and add that email address in. So if somebody is using this specific contact form to send you a message, that you're actually getting those messages. So that's important. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the fact that you can actually add custom links to the end here. So you are able to then link to external resources where your work might be published. The reason I mention this is not because you have an active blog. So for example, ours goes to livingtorome.com. But if you are really keen on publishing articles that show off your writing style, for example, you could use a tool like medium.com. If you're not familiar with Medium, I definitely recommend that you check it out. It's free for you to sign up to be a member, and you can basically publish content and it can go viral on Medium because people go onto Medium to read really high quality articles. So if you are really good and active on Medium, this can be a great way for you to get discovered. So if maybe creating graphics and all of that is not really your comfort zone, but writing is your comfort zone, then you can use a tool like Medium to publish your written content, and you can then link your Medium URL to your one-page website. So you could go ahead and click add new link, and you could say Medium profile or portfolio, or just Medium, let's say. And then somebody could click through and read your articles on Medium that way. That can also be a really great thing because if you have a Medium presence, you can then, for example, create pins that will lead to your Medium articles. So these are all ways for you to get around the whole complexity of starting your own website and your own blog. You can still publish your written content on sites like Medium without the hassle of designing your own website. So definitely check it out. And if you love writing, but you just don't want to deal with the whole concept of having to design your own website, then publish on websites like Medium or even on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go and exit out of that. We're going to publish this website, and we will go and have a look now at what this will look like in a mobile version. So you can go into preview. Now we already know what that looks like in desktop form, but we want to see what it'll look like on a tablet. So that looks quite cool. My face is still there. Awesome. And now let's have a look at what that will look like on mobile. So these stack quite nicely, and it's still all very clear. So this is the only difference between having a free and paid website, the fact that you will have some strikingly advertising on your site. If you really want to remove the branding, then you can definitely go ahead and do that. And when you're actually on the editing side of your portfolio, if you go into settings, you can find out more about your domain and how you can upgrade to get your own custom domain and how much it costs and how you can edit all of these other functions. But just for being able to present yourself and your services and even have an actual active portfolio on this website, I really recommend that you really don't bother too much with the paid domain if you're just using it to send clients to for a little bit more information about you. Your clients understand that you're a service provider and you may not have a professional business and have a team of 12 managing your digital marketing agency or something like that. You're one person, and this is enough when you're first starting out. But if it makes you more comfortable, then go ahead and upgrade to the paid account if that is something that you're interested in. But that's all about Strikingly. It's super easy. It takes 20 minutes, half hour to set up, and it can be a really great way of you finding one extra way to promote yourself and your services. Alright guys, I hope you really enjoyed that tutorial and that you're feeling confident in building your own one-page website on Strikingly. And if you like this video, make sure to give it a like, a share, subscribe to our channel so you never miss a weekly video, and please let me know what you thought in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep creating the life you love.